Hi friends, so today in this video we will study about India's fiscal deficit. So let us begin. India faced 5 different periods in the phase of fiscal deficit. The first phase is 3 decades post independence. In this, the fiscal deficit remained manageable. The current receipts were financed by the current expenditure and the current expenditures were financed by the limited borrowings. But in 1962 India-China War, 1965 India-Pakistan War, 1970s India faced oil shocks due to war in the Middle East region. Then in 1975 there was emergency imposed by Indira Gandhi. As a result, fiscal deficit was increased, but the state governments were generating revenue. So the fiscal deficit situation was controlled. The second phase is fiscal deterioration of 1980s. Basically, the public expenditure was increased but the revenue did not generate it that well. Capital expenditure was reduced but the fiscal deficit increased. That was basically due to the interest payment, that is the interest on borrowings that the government took in the previous years. Government tried to finance this fiscal deficit by seigniorage. Seigniorage is basically printing of the currency. This resulted in inflation. The third phase is resurgence of deficit in 1990s. We all know in 1990s, basically in 1991, India tried to open its economy and that was done through the LPG reforms. It stands for liberalization, privatization and globalization. You can explain this in your exams. The next point is fiscal reforms. It includes reduction of seigniorage to finance the deficit to control the inflation. The government also tried to reduce its expenditure and increase its revenue by improving the tax administration. After all these things, the deficit remained high. Now if we talk about the fourth phase, it was considered successful fiscal consolidation from 2003 till 2007-8 because in this phase various fiscal reforms took place. The first reforms that took place was Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management FRBM Act. It was enacted in 2003. It mandated reduction in the fiscal deficit and revenue deficit. VAT was adopted in 2004 both at center and state level. Tax administration was improved and the tax base was widened so that tax evasion could be reduced. Expenditure on subsidy was reduced. As a result of all these reforms, 2007-8 was considered the golden year. The last phase is global financial crisis and the counter fiscal policy. So let me tell you that fiscal policy is divided into two parts, that is pro-cyclical and counter-cyclical. Pro-cyclical is that fiscal policy where the government go with the flow of the economy, that is if there is a boom situation, government increase its expenditure, and if it is a recession, then government reduces its expenditure. Whereas in the counter-cyclical fiscal policy, government go against the flow of the economy. That is, during the boom situation, government reduces its expenditure and during the recession, government increases its expenditure. So, in this phase, financial crisis impacted India's fiscal deficit. So, government already planned expansionary fiscal policy for year 2008-2009 budget. As a result, government was able to expand its expenditure quickly. Counter fiscal policy helped in injecting the liquidity. I hope you liked the video. Thank you.